So we got an administration. They denied FEMA funds from the last time there was flooding to some districts. Kentucky got flood, money, some FEMA money. But I don't know how often that's going to keep up. But I know that this administration pretends that global warming is a hoax. And according to all the estimates, global warming is going to destroy us all. And so it's an existential crisis. And even if that's overstated, why don't we just pollute less? Why don't we just have less pollution? Recycle, reduce, reuse. This fence line here, there's probably about 20 foot piece of ground that's in front of it. And so it's covering up my dog graves, and it makes me think, well, maybe I should have buried them, farther up the hill. So hopefully the dog graves stay intact. Malcolm, Petunia, Butterscotch, Malia, Justice Marshall, and then of course the puppies, Innocence and Rosa, and a number of them. But that's it's just the graves that had happened from before. So I heard that the flood had killed like 10 people or so, and in Kentucky, and more people in other states, and including a kid. A kid had died in this flooding that happened. So this is what, April 7th, 2025. So this is crazy. I mean, the fact that it's getting up to these trees. There's the petunia tree right there, right? And then, see, I've marked some of these trees. So the petunia tree, the water's up to the petunia tree. This tree right here is fallen down, right? And then most of that tree's gone. That fence line, you can't even see that fence line until you get back to over here. When this had first happened, because what the Dutch did really good was they built land on the edges of their waters. When the flood had hit, it's been torrential waters for the last 5 days. I think it's let up. Blue skies now. But what they say is that there was 4 months of rain that took place in 4 days. 4 months of rain took place in 4 days. What do you think of that? That's nuts. And then it's supposed to be freezing cold tomorrow. Freezing cold. It's April. It's springtime. It makes you think we're going to have Christmas in July. But since the administration isn't going to do anything, even just setting good practices, a lot of this feels like just God's wrath. An industrialized nation. You'll keep polluting with your cars, keep polluting with your factories. You're polluting the whole world. Capitalism just says consume, 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 make, make, make. Burn more oil. And so the fence line, there's a little gate right there. You can't even walk through that gate right there. And then this fence line, there's a little gate right down here. So you can't even walk down that gate right here. And this whole fence line is gone. And then, like I said, there's about 20-foot embankment right there that's all underwater as well. So nothing too much of value in terms of property, so nothing was taken away. And, you know, those dog graves are underneath the ground. But it just, this is just crazy. This is just such a major flooding. So like I said, this is a tributary to the Ohio River. And we can't even go this direction. And there's that deck over there. It's tied to a couple of trees. And it's hanging on. It's staying right there. But we probably should tie a couple more wires to it. The plank is kind of leaning right there. It's higher. Everything's higher. So it's, you know, 5, 6 foot, 8 foot higher at this point. And I'll take a look at that on that side. What do you think? What do you think? And then also, I'll mention this too. I remember when Haiti had an earthquake, and there's a lot of aid that was given. I mean, there are FEMA funds, but how come we don't learn from our mistakes? You have this huge catastrophe, and this shit kind of happens in Kentucky all the time. So you would think that by now we would be learning to build up on, you know, top of the hills. And I don't know if the water's ever got to the top of the hill or not. Here's my other tree line right here. My new tree line. I planted some seeds right here. Will, you know, it hasn't got up that far. But it could. It could. And it rained really hard when it first came down. They said there was possible hail and tornado. No tornadoes hit. It was heavy winds. I didn't see or feel any hail. But it's just been raining for the last 4 days. When I think about the 10 plagues of Egypt, there's a whole bunch of dead fish that was down there by the edge of the banks. Then the dead frogs turned into flies, and then the flies turned into disease. And then the water in the river, you know, turned red. And it was God's punishment, right, for Pharaoh keeping the slaves, keeping the Hebrews as slaves. So this seems like it's God's punishment for the genocide, directly for our polluting ways. Even if you don't think climate change is going to kill us all, we should at least treat the, you know, the house, the land, the community that we live in, the earth that we live in, with more respect. Because this weather is out of hand. This weather is out of control, and I don't expect it to subside anytime soon. You know, if it's a bunch of weather and coldness now, it'll be too much heat and drought, you know, in a month from now.